What's going on, LA Comic-Con? I can't hear you. What is going on, LA Comic-Con? Oh, yeah. Have we got something amazing for you? We've got not one, not two, not three, 4 cast members from one of the greatest TV shows in history, The Mandalorian. Are you guys ready? Are you ready? I gotta hear it. Are you ready? All right, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Thank you so much. I wore them just for you. Okay. Please welcome to the stage Emily Swallow, Paul Sun-Hyung Lee, Ming-Na Wen, and Giancarlo Esposito.
Yeah, baby. Got the full house going.
Hey, whoa.
Whoa.
Where am I? Don't sit on the floor. Hi, everybody. Holy smokes. Nice.
This is so exciting to have all of you here. I want to just start out by asking the most obvious question. This past season of Mandalorian was extraordinary. What was your favorite moments, one at a time? What was your favorite moments of filming? Let's start with Paul down at the end there.
Just being in it. I mean, gosh. You know, there's something really special about that show, especially if you've been a fan for as long as I have. I've been a fan since I was 5 years old, so this really is a dream come true to be able to join, be up here even on the stage with these fantastic actors and to play a universe that I grew up loving. And so, yeah, I mean, just being along for the ride has been spectacular. And being up here and seeing this sea of fans out there, you guys, this is so incredible. Thank you so much for showing up and showing your love. We appreciate that. But yeah, just being on the show. Yeah, okay, see you.
They love you, Paul.
Oh, I see a Mando over there. What up, Dinjarin? I didn't make that armor, but it looks good. I loved the moment when the armorer told Bo to take off her helmet because it was such a simple scene, but Katie and I were so excited about it, and we came up with all these theories about whether the armorer had known Bo back on Mandalore or had known her dad, and we came up with this whole backstory, and then we presented it to Dave, and he was like, nah, they didn't know each other. But it was such a simple moment, but there was so much riding on it, and it was just thrilling to get to go through that and then to kind of hear people's reactions to it.
My favorite moment was coming back from the dead. Because it was an incredible dream to have gotten the call that I was going to finally be in a Star Wars project, being such a massive Star Wars fan, just like you guys. If I wasn't up here, I would be down there with you. I was so thrilled, and then, of course, it was only one episode, and I just didn't know if she was coming back. Dave Filoni kind of hinted at it, that there might be a possibility, but, and then it happened. So that's one of my favorite moments. Fennec Shand lives.
You know, it's so great to be here with all of you fans who really, really loved and support this show, and it's been a great ride for all of us. So we're all in such great gratitude. I love getting the lowdown on Bo-Katan.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I love that. I had the opportunity to have a couple of some wonderful moments in the show. Not only my entry into the show out of my TIE fighter and having one really glorious costume, but then getting the strength of the best car so no one could best me was certainly a high point for me. And getting a helmet and being as formidable as I could be as Moff Gideon. So thank you so much.
Love it. Now, you are all iconic characters in Star Wars now. Is there any legacy characters from the original trilogy or the prequels that you wish that you could share the screen with?
Well, for me, it would be the great one, the great James Earl Jones as Darth Vader. So in my dreams, I have that we can go back and he's tutoring me on how to take over his legacy. But I love James so much. He was a dear friend, and he was such a great performer. And we all pay so much tribute to him for all that he gave throughout all the characters in his life. But Darth Vader certainly was a powerful one for me.
Yeah. And you know, Moff Gideon would have been an excellent student of Darth Vader.
No doubt.
Absolutely.
Oh, gosh. I mean, I already had the pleasure of not knowing that I was in a scene with the OG of Luke Skywalker. So that going to that level of my childhood, being in Jabba the Hutt's throne, working with Boba Fett. I mean, it was. I feel like I was part of the original OG films already. So I'll just leave it at that.
My way into Star Wars were Ewoks because, I mean, I was very, very young when the second movie came out, and they were cute and cuddly and furry, so I was like, I'm all in. And I do think that it'd be kind of amusing to have maybe, because you guys, the armorer is making a lot of armor all by herself. So maybe she could get some Ewoks to come in and apprentice with her. Help out a little bit. I feel like that could be a good...
You're going to start an Ewok sweatshop, is what you're
Oh!
saying? I heard that.
There are no child labor laws on Mandalore.
Me?
Yeah.
Wedge Antilles. I'd love, yeah. It would be fun for Carson Teva and Wedge Antilles to be kicking back, just a couple of pilots after, going on patrol for a bit. I like to think in my own head canon that maybe the paths have crossed a couple of times. They've hung out, shared a couple of drinks, played a game or two of sabacc. And I think that would be a lot of fun. And of course, Dennis Lawson, one of the unsung heroes of the original trilogy. The only character to sort of make it through all three of the OG trilogy. The character, at least, I know there were a couple of actors who played him in A New Hope, but that'd be a lot of fun to see those two kicking around.
Love it. Giancarlo, I want to go back with you just for a second to James Earl Jones. I know that he was a big influence on you. Could you maybe expand on that and talk about him just a little bit, as well as I would love to know how you feel about influencing actors that are coming up now, and what that relationship is like for you.
Well, I think, in life we impact each other far greater than we really understand. Whether you're someone up here on this panel who does this professionally, or whether you're working in community theater, or whether you just have a regular job, I think we take for granted how much power that we have to affect each other in a positive way. And I first met James Earl Jones back on a show that my brother did called The Great White Hope. And he played a very small role on Broadway where he played a character called Paco, who held the bag for this great Jack Johnson boxer that James played. And I met him backstage, and he was always kind to me. I wasn't in that particular show, but he was a guy who really was personable. And you never know in life how, something that you say to someone that is a positive that begins a conversation, and I like your glasses. I like your hat. I like the way you look. I like the way you present yourself. You start with what works and what's good. And James was always that way with me. Years later, I had the opportunity to work with him on a show called Cat on a Hot Tin Roof. and I played Gooper, and it was directed by Debbie Allen, and it was a play that had all black servants and an all black cast. And James Earl Jones played Big Daddy. And so I played one of his sons. And I would wind up in his dressing room, and I walked in one day, and he had a stack of New York Times, all 3 newspapers, and a stack of scripts. And he had every line to say in this play. And it was enough for him to learn all his lines, but he would sit in between and read 3 newspapers, knew about the world, he was really someone who cared about humanity. So he wanted to know what was going on, not only in New York, but around the world. And I walked in and I said, how do you get all this done? He said, I'm a reader. And it allowed me to know that me as an actor had to be well informed. And we as human beings need to be well informed, not only about our small circle, but about the small circle of the world as it affects other people who we are not, so that we can be more acceptant, more understanding, and allow ourselves to put ourselves in other people's shoes so that we can wish the best for them as well as ourselves. And James is that kind of guy.
Wow.
I want to go over to Emily for a second. Emily, I know you've done a lot of amazing charity events in full costume. And
I like to go
wanted to ask
undercover.
about what that's been like for you, and also if you want to shout out any of these charities that you worked with. Any of you want to shout out a good one to this amazing, massive audience? I think it's a great time to do that.
Well, thank you. One of the things that has most impressed me about getting to do conventions and getting to know all of you in the fandom is how big your hearts are and how generous you are and how much good you do want to do in the world. And I feel so lucky that we get to be part of these stories that draw all of us together, and then you and us, we get to be part of a bigger story if we choose. And playing the armorer has definitely made me feel like I have some big shoes to fill, literally and figuratively, because those boots are kind of big. And so I've gotten to do a lot of work with kids through a group called Voices Against Cancer, which funds pediatric cancer research, but which also creates this incredible community of support for families that are going through this experience. And because of that, I've gotten to hear from a lot of you what your experiences are with cancer. And unfortunately, it touches everybody. And I think it helps all of us when we get to talk about it. So that's a huge gift to me. I lost my dad to cancer, and getting to hear other people's stories of triumph or, when cancer does take somebody is so healing. And then the lighter side of that is that, yes, sometimes I do put on my armor and go undercover. And it's getting harder and harder because now people suspect it. But it's been a lot of fun to do at conventions. And when I do take off my helmet, I get one of 2 reactions. I get half of the people who are like, oh my gosh, it's really you. And then the other half of the people go, who is that? Because they don't know what I actually look like. So it's humbling, which is good. But it's really, I've gotten to go to some children's hospitals and to visit kids, and getting to brighten somebody's day like that when all I'm doing is putting on this amazing costume that somebody else has made. Kudos to all of you who build your cosplay. It is just one of the gifts that's come from being an actor that I never knew existed when I wanted to do this. And it's opened up a whole other community for me, and I'm so grateful for that, and just continually grateful to all of you for the support that you provide for that. But Voices Against Cancer is definitely the group that I cheerlead for.
Love it. Paul, if you want to take, if you have a charity you want to shout out, any of you guys have one, you're welcome to say it.
Sure. I'm from Canada, so there are a couple of organizations like you. Canada, eh?
Me too. I'm also Canadian.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh,
We
really?
should talk
From
Wow.
London, from
We
London,
have
Ontario,
Let's go.
Canada.
Oh, there you go.
Wow.
There you go. That's,
bookends here.
my family
Canadian
immigrated there when we
bookends.
first came to Canada. There's Canadian Blood Services, which is sort of like they provide a lot of the blood for the hospitals and the communities that need it. Over the last couple of years, my dad, he fell ill. and was very dependent on blood transfusions to actually help him stay alive. And so this was an organization that sort of I reached out to, I wanted to do, because we were just so thankful because they were able to extend his life. And in fact, he's made a recovery. And it's no small part to that. Yeah, so very, very grateful for that. So I would try to give them a big shout out. There's also the Brain Tumor Foundation of Canada. Every October 24th, there's an awareness where we post on social media and we try to raise awareness about brain tumor research in Canada. And so those are two very near and dear charities to me. And on a more local level, there's Mutt's Dog Rescue, because we have a dog that we got as a rescue, and at a local level to try to effect change. And we love our dog. He's changed our life. And so, so there's
a lot of dog lovers out there.
Can I also, sorry, I left out, I'm also doing a raffle at this convention for Voices Against Cancer, and you can win an autographed armor action figure and a special edition print by a wonderful artist who's here, Hannah Muldery, Blue Egg Adventures, autographed. The tickets are only $5. You can come to my table and get that, and all the proceeds go to Voices Against Cancer.
I've been a longtime supporter of Holly Robinson Peete and Rodney Pete's foundation, Holly Rod, where they really do so much for Parkinson's as well as autism. And then most recently, I'm going to be on the board of the Culture City organization. If you've never heard of them, it's Culture with a K and City with a C. They help offer so much to people who are have sensory sensitivities, where they provide these wonderful bags for people who are on the spectrum, or people who have mental health issues or PTSD, dementia, where they give you safe rooms to go to, or they give you these bags where you can put on the soundproofing headphones and different things. They've passed out like 1 million plus of these bags, and I'm hoping to instill some of those safe rooms for conventions like this, for people who sometimes they get too overloaded with crowds or stimulation, and they just need a safe place to go to just sort of chill out. So Culture City is like my newfound passion, and I love them. They're the most amazing organization. So
I've done some work with Voices Against Cancer with Dr. Lou, as Emily has as well, and had some very profound experiences there. I work with the 501s out of Portland, Oregon. 501s out there, we love you.
Woo-hoo! Yeah.
And the work that they do is really specific. They go around to children's hospitals, children who are handicapped and who also have pediatric cancer, and they make appearances there in Portland, Oregon. And I support their group who, it's called Magic Wheelchairs for kids who are handicapped, who they make these incredible magic wheelchairs all surrounding Star Wars and the Mandalorian, so they can get kids out into parades, out to Comic-Cons, and they build these incredible machines that these kids can wheel around in, sometimes motorized. You would never even know that they're handicapped, to get them out of the house and get them mobile. So, and the other organization I support deeply is an organization called Kids for Peace, where young people between the ages of 10 and 17 years old have satellite Kids for Peace programs. They enlist kids all over the world. They travel to Africa, to India, also to places in America where they build schools in Africa.
Amazing.
And it's all done by these young people who have raised millions of dollars to support kids who support peace in all these different countries, so that they can find and bring a resolution to all this war in all these different parts of our world.
That's amazing.
Kids for Peace.
Just got to do a little shout out to Children's Hospital Los Angeles.
Woo!
Tom Kinney, SpongeBob SquarePants, and I just did a fundraiser together in LA and filled vans and vans full of toys with the help of a lot of you guys here. So shout out to you guys in Children's Hospital. Okay, talking about toys, can we talk about merch for a second? What is your favorite piece of merch of Star Wars, whether it's related to your character or it's related to something that you love that you have at home, something
I think
tactile.
Paul's head is exploding right now.
Oh yeah, come on.
How long have you been collecting?
Don't do this to me.
Oh my God, Paul.
Just a little while. I got a small, very small. Is my wife out here? No. Very small curated collection. A few hundred hot toys and.
Oh, Paul, we gotta know what's some of these pieces. What do you got?
I collect. Oh my God, why? Okay. So I might have a problem. It's all about perspective.
You can stop
yeah.
anytime.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I could. I'm really digging. So I got into. I mean, I always collected action figures, especially when I was small, younger. And then my parents culled my collection when I went to university. They went and like no mercy, gave all the stuff away.
No.
They were like, what
Yeah.
Everyone
grown
say
man
boo.
needs action figures?
Ground zero. These are childhood treasures. They gone. So since then, I've been sort of trying to rebuild my collection. So action figures, 3.75 scale, the 6-inch figures. I got into the 1/6 scale, which is like the 12-inch figures, especially Hot Toys, and then you've got like 3.0 and all the different other like really expensive makers. And so I'm doing that. I collect replica like premium lightsabers as well, Corband sabers, you know, like with the chassis and the. Anyways, it's all a bit of a steep slope. Replica props, and I build. So I build like I've got a proton pack that I like at 5 actually, and a trap and goggle sets, and you know the Jurassic Park, the special the Barbasol can where it opens up. I like movies. I like nerdy things. I like those props, and that's when it grabs your attention. Yeah. And now I got a little bit of sweet TV money, so it's like, okay, I can get that. And so, yeah, I've got a lot. And helmets.
What do you have your eye on right now that you don't have?
Don't do this to me.
Oh no.
Don't. There's a, oh no. No. I can't.
Can I see pictures of your displays? Of your
Okay.
toys?
Yeah, you like right now?
Yeah.
Oh no, it's not. I don't have. It's just we redid the basement. My wife jokes that we bought a new house just so I could have more room for my toys,
Nothing wrong.
and she's not wrong. And the basement's a bit of a mess still. I bought custom shelves, module cases, so I could display my 1/6 scale figures. And I didn't realize they're not a U.S.-based company, so it's taken over a year for them to get here. So I just have, in place like the IKEA Detolfs with all my stuff in it right now. So it's not as a collector, you guys get it, right? Like you want everything to look good. And so it's kind of like, it's a work in progress. No, it's not a problem at all. I can stop anytime. It's good.
I love how so many of you are in on this question and
Oh,
his
yeah.
answer. You're all like, yeah, we understand, yeah. It's amazing, it's awesome.
And you're all going to
I
go
don't
home
understand
and
half
be
of what
like,
he said, but he gets it. He's got him.
all of you whose spouses are telling you to stop, now you're going to go home and you're going to be like, Paul does it, so it's not my fault.
I'm an enabler.
You guys remember in the first Star Wars movie, there was the cantina table that Greedo sits across from Han. I found one, like a small one, on Facebook Marketplace for like $75, and I was like, "Oh, I'm getting this." I just thought it was like a little end table. This guy shows up in a van with his wife. He pulls up in the van. They pop open the back door. It's 1-to-1 scale. It is full size. And I go, "Where's this from?" He goes, "Oh, we made them at Skywalker Ranch for an event. We
Yeah.
made 12 of them. This is the one I made." And I go, "Are you sure you want to sell it?" And his wife in the front seat goes, "Get it out of the van! Get it out of the van, Paul!" And I was like, oh my God, I have it in my living room. It's ridiculous. It's
That's
enormous.
awesome.
I
That's
have
awesome.
I have a Mando ship on top of it. So, you know,
wow.
all love, all real love.
You live with us every day.
I live with you every day, Giancarlo.
We love it.
That's so amazing. Okay, we're gonna open this up to questions. Let's get where is Mike Black? Mike Black, come on out. Give it up for comedian Mike Black.
Yeah, Mike.
Mike, you can grab a question. Anybody from the front row? They got some over
Does
here.
anyone have a question? Oh, how about you?
Hi, my question is for Ming-Na Wen. Who do you think would win in a fight between Fennec, Melinda May, and Mulan?
Wow.
That's a
That's
wicked
a
question.
serious question.
That's a serious, wow.
I buy
It
tickets.
depends on what kind of fight it is.
Oh.
That's key, right? But Melinda May is pretty badass, and I've done most fight scenes with her. But if there's anything to do with, a shooting set of skills, then definitely it would be Fennec Shand. Yes. But I'm gonna, gosh, this is a mean question. You know, I know there's a gazillion fans who are Mulan fans, the OG.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say Mulan would kick their asses. You know, she saved China. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
No big deal.
All right,
have
let's
another
grab another
question?
one.
Hi, it's for the cast. I was just wondering if you're aware that there is a community of Grogu makers, Grogu that rebody and make their own Grogus, and how you feel about it.
Mike, could you
Mike,
repeat the
yeah,
question?
Can you repeat?
There is a community of Grogu makers
Yeah.
who make their own customized Grogu. How do you guys feel about that?
You have something I want. That's how I feel about that.
That was perfect. That was absolutely perfect.
I have a question for you, my favorite actress, Ming-Na Wen.
Aw.
I want to know, I have 3 questions to ask you. When are you going to have your reboot for your Mulan again? And when are you going to have your Star Wars story of your Fennec Shand? And also, how do you get your technique skills and have your Kung Fu fighting as Mulan? Because you're my favorite. You are the best actress.
Okay, Mike, can you repeat?
Mike, can you help us with that one?
Yeah. Something
I'll
about martial
try.
arts and Mulan.
He wanted to know
and-
about your training and what you have coming up soon
Oh, okay. Well, real quick,
for the reboot of Mulan.
Oh, okay. I don't know if there's a reboot of Mulan, but my training is from dance and kung fu, and my kick-ass stunt double, who's a wushu master, Ming Q.
Yeah.
She's been my double for over 10 years, and I've learned so much from her, and she is a tough trainer. I love her dearly.
I worked with her on
Yeah.
Book of Boba Fett, and she's incredible.
She's amazing. She's tiny and powerful. Love her, and get really fat when I'm not working with her.
I'm gonna take a quick question from the internet. This one was, what piece of Star Wars technology do you wish was real? And before you say lightsaber, I feel like if I had a lightsaber, I'd end up cutting my arm off with
Yeah.
it. I'm not
Yeah. It's
very
dangerous.
Yeah.
coordinated. I bought a Ginsu knife recently, and I accidentally set it on fire. So that's not good. That's a mistake. That was a mistake. Please.
Yeah.
For me, it would be the TIE Fighter.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I
Yeah.
just think it's the perfect shape. I think it moves faster than anything else, and I think we should have that in our world.
There we go.
That'd be my transportation, baby. New York to LA. TIE Fighter, baby.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that.
I think for me it would be like if there was a light speed for LA traffic, like where you could just frickin' get from one spot to the next,
Oh,
like
yeah,
just go
that's
through some
perfect.
wormhole or something just to get anywhere. Yeah.
Love it.
I just want a jetpack. I'm a simple girl with simple needs. Although that would come in handy for traffic too, so maybe it's practical.
Land speeders. It'd be so much fun to just tool around on a land speeder, no
Yeah.
tires. Just go. You can go off-road, you can go over the water, you can do lots of fun things with a land speeder, plus she took jetpack, so.
Yeah, nobody
love
can
it.
steal the wheels, right? Yeah.
Oh, perfect. We got a question over here?
Yeah, we do.
Okay, this question is for Giancarlo. I'm wanting to know if you plan on being involved in any more seasons of The Mandalorian, and if they'll add more seasons, and how many more, if you know.
Well, I would love to be. You know, I don't know much about what's going on. I know they're making a film. I don't know if they're going to return to the show or not, but anything is open. And I certainly left the best opening ever for Moff Gideon to come back. You know, I love it when you see a character go over the edge, but you don't quite know what happens. And, you know, I remember in our last season when I came to set, had a different haircut because I figured I was in prison for a while, and had no mustache. And then before I started shooting, Jon Favreau came down and he kind of looked at me and he went, scratched his head, he went, "No mustache?" And I went, no mustache. And so it leaves it open with, you know, all of those clones, that there's a possibility that Moff Gideon is still hiding out somewhere, waiting to come back and take over. I can almost guarantee it.
Oh, absolutely.
Ooh, nice.
Love it. Yeah.
Hi, this is it's for Paul. Fellow collector here. I know you've talked about how Hasbro hasn't really made your own
no, here we
action
go.
figure. Has there been any talks with Hot Toys for like a 1/6 scale for licensing? And
Sorry,
what
what's
would
the
you
question?
prefer?
Hasbro?
Yeah,
No.
well, yeah, Hasbro, but,
But-
anything with Hot Toys as far as licensing goes?
I'm sorry, Mike, could you repeat? I
Yeah,
just sort of went all like.
he asked if, other than Hasbro, are there any other figures being made of you, like Hot Toys or Pops or anything like that?
Oh my God! No.
No.
All my
What?
fellow collectors, let's band together and demand something.
Yeah.
Right? Come on,
There's
man.
got to be a toy company here right now
I just-
that we can get to sign an agreement.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
like, I don't know what more I got to do, because it's like Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett, Ahsoka. It's 3 different series.
Yeah.
Right? Give Carson some love. Like, what's the deal, dudes? What more does he have to do?
on.
And it's not like he's he's not like a taxi driver. He's doing stuff. He
Yeah.
shows up. He helps. He nudges. He cajoles. There's subtext to his character.
Yeah, there's like 5 K2SO figures.
go.
I mean, come on.
There you go. And I love the
Pull it
Mandalorians,
together.
but how many more Mandalorians do we need? I know it's a mold. It's very easy to army build.
You need
But-
to enlist the people who are making all the Grogus and have
There
them
you go.
just switch
That's
over
right.
to
An
doing
army
Carsons.
of Carsons.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right. We got time for a couple more.
Hi, if you had a lightsaber in real life, what color would it be?
Ooh, that's a serious
great
question.
question.
If you had a lightsaber in real life, what color would it be?
Black! Come on! Duh!
Orange for me, because that's Fennec's color, for sure.
Gold, because I gotta have everything gold.
This is a question I've long debated in my own mind. You've opened up a particular can of worms that I don't think we have enough time to really fully explore. Suffice to say, blue?
All right, you guys ready for another one?
My question is for Giancarlo Esposito. What kind of research did you do for Moff Gideon?
You know, I went back and I watched Peter Cushing's performance. His Grand Moff performance was very interesting to me. I went back and looked a bit at James Earl Jones, because that was just inspiration to me. How he held himself, how he carried himself underneath that grand and very graceful costume. It took a long time for me to even start to think that I was kind of the modern day Darth Vader, because I didn't know much. And I wanted to sort of figure it out. So I went back and looked. I went back and read. I talked to Favreau, and Dave Filoni, who weren't giving much up. And then I made the rest up, which is normally what I usually do. I had asked for, the one request I asked for was a cape, and that gave me the feeling that I had to walk a certain way and be a certain way. And then the moment came where I had the dark saber. And, you know, it's interesting to have an extension of your arm, but it's not your arm. It's a weapon, it's a tool that's revered. So I had to first bow down to it and give it great respect, and then start to play around in my living room with a broomstick to figure out how not to set it on fire and how not to chop my own arm off.
Oh, yeah.
And so it was, you know, the journey for me is always wonderful. Oftentimes in our lives, we want to get to where we perceive ourselves as being. But if we got there tomorrow, we wouldn't appreciate it as much as if we built the building blocks to get there. So the journey becomes very important. And the journey for me of Moff Gideon, although it was a very facilitated, fast one, I immersed myself to be able to figure out how to control the chaos and have you believe it and relate to it.
Love it. Brilliant.
Hi there. So the show's very much the vision of these two minds, Favreau and Filoni, and I was curious how you felt about the differences, if there is much difference in their style of direction or how they tell a story or work with you as actors to make their vision come to life.
They tell you very little. You know, David has a childlike, unjaded view with the intellect of someone who understands and remembers every piece of what's happening from the beginning. So to combine that, you know, that childlike view, which gives him a lightness of being and a creative sense that can expand things, with the intellectual property of knowing what went before, is kind of an amazing combination. Whereas John is incredible also in his intellect, but what is it that you can say that makes things most practical? What I love the most is their empowerment of you as an actor, of us as actors. You know, and that is a beautiful thing. You know, they lay it out for you, but then they trust you enough to follow the instinct. And John said to me one day, this is why I hired you. You know, I got to be on set 3. We ran into a problem about a fight, my fight with Cara Dune, and the director, Rick, was giving suggestions, and the actress was giving suggestions, and, you know, the director had to make the decision, but we call in the big guns. And John looked at me and he said, you know what to do. We had 3 different scenarios, and I loved that, because then it empowered me. What we do in our lives, whether we know it or not, by things that we say that could be flippant, offhand, or really meant to be said to someone because you said it out of a very thoughtful and in a mindful way, you don't know how much that affects someone. So after John said that to me, I walked back on the set, we went through the scene again, and I knew exactly what should be done. And I suggested, you know, she turns this gun around and she just pops me in the head with it, and I fall straight back on my back. How simple is that? You know, and so there are things that happen that we sometimes put too much of our brain into, and we need to allow our childlike wonder and joy to come out, to keep it simple and allow it to flow. When you're in the moment, things flow. It shouldn't be that hard. Take a moment, take a deep breath, and allow it, invite it to happen.
And what I also love about John and Dave is what great listeners they are. You know, they're incredible storytellers, but they're also really wonderful listeners. And as an actor, it's fantastic when you're on a set that complex and that big with so many things going on, that they will take that moment and you just feel heard as an actor. And that's the collaboration that I will always cherish with the both of them. Yeah, they're amazing.
I love that.
to become president. I'll be thinking about that, baby. Let's see how this next few months go. And then I'll rise up like a phoenix and proclaim all of you to be kings and queens that you are.
So good. So good.
I just want to follow that question up with you've been working with all sorts of different directors on the show. Any stories, anything you can throw out about any of the directors that you've gotten to work with throughout the process of doing this?
On our show?
Yeah.
You guys have a...
Well, the thing that impressed me from the beginning is similar to the way that John and Dave really trust their actors. They trust every single creative person on that show. And with a show that is so sprawling and with so many moving parts, I feel like it could be easy to feel like you have to maintain this tight control of your vision. And what's always struck me is that they have a very strong vision of what the show is, but they trust everyone they're working with, and that extends to these very unique directors that they brought in, who all have their own unique style, all have their own way of working, but who are all unified in telling the same story. And you can really feel that when you're working with each one. It was a real thrill to get to work with people with different styles and to discover different moments with them because they approach it through a different lens, but to trust that we were all ultimately telling the same story and that was the most important thing. And so I feel like in allowing everybody to be very unique and giving that trust rather than trying to maintain control, it wound up making everything more unified, even with the individual styles that we worked with, and that was fun.
Amazing.
You got anything?
I think my experience was a little bit different than yours. No, I mean, my first episode of Mandalorian was directed by the late, great Carl Weathers. And to be honest, I mean, as a Canadian kid coming to the U.S., my first ever gig in the U.S., and it's a Hollywood icon, and he's directing you. And he scared me. I loved him, but he was a director that I had to gain his trust because he didn't cast me in it. John and Dave made the offer, and you know, Carl was directing the episode, and usually the director has more of a say, and then I was just this guy that kind of showed up, and he had no idea who I was, and he didn't know that it didn't matter that I was a crafted professional actor from Canada, an award-winning actor. He didn't know me because he didn't cast me. So I felt like I had to earn his trust, and so I was a mess of nerves that first day because I really wanted to prove that I belonged, that I was a professional, and I could do the job, right? And so I was able to sort of win him over, which is great, because the second day it was like night and day. Once you get Carl's trust, everything opens up. And I got to see Carl, the man, like he just was an incredible presence and just so inspiring, and he'd done so much and so generous and so giving of his time. Amazing experience. Yeah. And then I worked with Peyton Reed, who had directed the Ant-Man movies. So that was really cool, but like more so than not, he had directed that cheerleader movie, Bring It On. That's right.
Oh,
and
wow.
while we were shooting that episode, both he and Dave were nerding out because it was like the 20th anniversary of that movie. So it was like, oh, okay, this is cool, this is different. And then working with Bryce Dallas Howard, who is an actor's director, because she has performed. And so getting notes from her was incredible because she just knew what you were looking for. So that was like really, really cool. And then, getting a chance to work with Peter Ramsey, who, like Dave Filoni, had moved from animation to live action, and he was super collaborative. And I felt like I kind of landed at that point because I didn't feel like I needed to prove anything to him. He just trusted me as a performer to do it. Like, this character, very collaborative. What do you think? And it was really freeing. I love working with him. And then finally being able to work with Dave, on Ahsoka, and having him sort of come in, and it's just like, oh my God. It's like, finally, the maker. I get to wear this shirt without any irony. I was directed by Dave Filoni, and I love to wear this to troll him because he hates that, right? So it's fun. I mean, it's as somebody from the outside looking in, from not even from the States, like this is the big leagues, right? And so to be able to play here, it's so overwhelming, but it's so much fun. And it is like when you're building these worlds and working with these great professionals who are at the top of the game, good Lord, what a ride it is and what an experience.
Love it. So
I love
amazing.
you too.
All right, we got time for one more question.
Well, final question.
Hey, this question's for Paul as well. Sorry for all the spotlight, but I think you play a perfect live-action Uncle Iroh. He's fantastic. A lot of fans were really happy to see you do that, and I was wondering if Uncle Iroh got to sit in on a Jedi Council meeting, if there's a particular master that he would line up with philosophically.
Oh.
That is a great question. One I've never actually honestly considered. Iroh is a man who was born of fire, who's been through a lot, who suffered great loss and has journeyed from one end of the spectrum to the next. And to suffer that loss and to see what true happiness comes from, which is deciding what you are, not falling prey to the idea of destiny, of being able to choose who you are. Who would he align with the most in that? I'd say Qui-Gon, but he never made it to the council because it was that kind of outside the box thinking which prevented him from being on the council. I'd say Yoda, but Yoda was blind to the fact that the Sith were operating underneath him because of his own sort of pride, and that created a blind spot for him. Who else on the council would he align most with in terms of that? I mean, that's a tough question. That's good. I'm gonna go to bed like tossing and turning tonight, going, who? Why did you? What's your name? Why would you do this to me? But what do you think? Like, which one of the masters do you think? Mace Windu, man of action, a little too hot-headed, but I'm sorry. Spot on with Qui-Gon. Not part of the council. Plo Koon.
You know what I love about this is that these kind of questions, this is the kind of stuff we all sit around with each other, asking each other.
Yeah.
Like, as, big fans of Star Wars and of all the amazing fandoms that you guys are a part of, we, literally sit at Bob's Big Boy in the middle of the night just trying to figure out what color lightsaber different people would have. Yeah. And as a lifelong Star Wars fan and a massive fan of all of you, it is such an honor to have been able to do this. Guys, I love you guys all so much.
So cool.
Love you guys.
Thank you,
so
everybody.
much.
Let's give everyone a giant round of applause. Giancarlo Esposito, Ming-Na Wen, Emily Swallow, and Paul Sun-Hyung Lee. Come on.
Yeah, baby.
Now that's a panel. Come on.